We're now well into the 2022 NBA season, and we've seen enough from every team to have a general idea of how good they are this year. With that being said, we also know what teams excel in and where they struggle for the most part, so trade rumors are going to continue to whirl until the trade deadline. Discussing hypothetical trades is something every fan loves to do because the idea of being able to bring in new faces to improve your team is just pretty fun, and it's why I continue to come back to these type of videos time and time again. As we've done several times in the past, today we'll be looking at an article posted by national media outlet Bleacher Report, where they proposed 4 fresh and new trade ideas surrounding some of the biggest names on the trade block. I'll be going through each of them and analyzing why or why not the team involved would want to actually do them, along with who benefits the most and the least in each hypothetical agreement. If you want to read the actual article itself, that will be linked in the description of this video too. Before we start though, it turns out about 49% of you watching right now aren't even subscribed to the channel, so please, if you enjoy the content, consider hitting the subscribe button, as not only does it help out a ton, but I'd also very much appreciate it. Now with that being said, let's begin. The first proposed trade in the article is between the Dallas Mavericks and the Portland Trail Blazers, and in it the Mavericks acquire CJ McCollum in exchange for Tim Hardaway Jr., Reggie Bullock, and a future first-round pick. The biggest topic of conversation surrounding the Mavericks by the general public throughout the offseason was the fact that the Mavericks need a genuine number 2 option alongside Luka Doncic to take some of the pressures of shot creation and consistent scoring off of his shoulders. Most presumed that Kristaps Porzingis would be the trade chip used to go out and try to find that missing piece, but this proposal takes a bit of a different approach. CJ McCollum has been a fantastic number 2 guy to Damian Lillard for years now, so I really like his potential fit on the Mavericks here, but I do have some hesitations about the details of this one. The Trailblazers seem to be on track for another mediocre season after a disappointing offseason, and on top of that, they're now dealing with scandals and legal issues with members of their front office, specifically General Manager Neil Olshey, so basically there's already a lot of smoke here, and it really feels like they're set to implode at any moment. If the Blazers end up shifting towards a rebuild, they're going to want pieces for the future in return for their best players, and while this deal does include a first-round pick in the offer for McCollum, I don't think THJ and Bullock exactly match what they would want. I really like this kind of trade from the Mavericks' perspective, but it just doesn't seem that likely for the Blazers to want experienced wing players that are more suited to be in the rotation of playoff contenders. The next proposal is between the New York Knicks and the Detroit Pistons, and in this deal, the Knicks receive Jeremy Grant in exchange for Obi Toppin, Alec Burks, Kevin Knox, a 2022 first-round pick that's top 3 protected, and a 2023 second-round pick. The Knicks were one of the most aggressive teams in the league this offseason, looking to push themselves further into the conversation of contenders in the East. Additions of Kemba Walker and Evan Fournier have already started to pay off as the team has looked much improved offensively to start the season, so who's to say that the team won't continue to be aggressive and go all in at the deadline? Jeremy Grant originally went to Detroit 2 years ago to prove that he could be more than just a role player and that he could handle a bigger offensive workload in a team and be a go-to guy. And he's done exactly that by averaging over 20 points over the course of last year and this year combined. The Pistons aren't winning anything meaningful this year, and their focus is fully on the development of their young players, so honestly, I really like this deal a lot for both sides. Kevin Knox is desperate for a change of scenery, and the Pistons would be a great place for him to try to salvage his NBA career. Obi Toppin would get more minutes in Detroit as well, and on the flip side, Jeremy Grant would be yet another borderline all-star talent to add to the Knicks' rotation as they gear up to make a deep playoff run. The draft compensation of both a first-round pick and a second-round pick would tempt the Pistons even further, and the Knicks would bolster their roster even more. The next proposal is between the Golden State Warriors and the Sacramento Kings, and in this deal the Warriors receive Harrison Barnes, Buddy Hield, and Tyrese Halliburton in exchange for Andrew Wiggins, James Wiseman, and Moses Moody. Right off the bat, I'm just going to shoot down this offer as hard as I have ever in all my months of reviewing these trade articles. This one was clearly written by a Warriors fan because I don't even know what I'm looking at right now. There's just no way anybody rationally thought this was a good idea. Are the Kings in a great spot right now with a record of 5-8? No, they're definitely not. Does that mean they should just trade away 3 of their best players for pennies on the dollar and once again rebuild as if the team hasn't been rebuilding for over a decade now? Also, no, that would be insane. Buddy Hield is still a premier sharpshooter in the league. Harrison Barnes is off to the best start to a season he's ever had, scoring over 21 points per game so far this year on incredibly impressive efficiency, and Tyrese Halliburton is one of the most promising young two-way guards in the league right now who holds a ton of value. Meanwhile, James Wiseman hasn't played this year and is coming off of a bit of a worrisome rookie season. Moses Moody has promise as a rookie, but he's barely played at all in the games that he's made appearances in and has yet to prove that really, and Andrew Wiggins is Andrew Wiggins. There isn't much left to say on that regard. This is genuinely one of the most lopsided trades I've seen in these Bleacher Report articles, and it kind of baffles me that nobody shot this down sooner. And finally, the last proposal in the article is probably the biggest one, as it's a 3-team trade between the Boston Celtics, Philadelphia 76ers, and Minnesota Timberwolves that you can see the full details of on your screen now, but the notable parts of this trade see Karl-Anthony Towns go to Boston, Jaylen Brown go to Philadelphia, and Ben Simmons go to Minnesota. The biggest rumor on the trade mill this week did feature the Boston Celtics expressing interest in Ben Simmons, and reports said that the two teams have discussed a trade, but nothing significant has come from it yet. Jaylen Brown was the player identified as who the 76ers would want in return for any potential trade, but obviously a simple swap of Simmons for Brown is not something that would ever happen. So in order to make it work, bringing in a third team to help iron out the details would be ideal for everybody, and it just so happens that the Timberwolves are once again sinking in the standings and Karl Towns' patience is being tested. Now, with 3 teams involved, it's super complicated to grade all around, but for starters, I'll say that the 76ers would definitely love this trade. The Celtics may not love the idea of giving up Jaylen Brown, but getting Karl-Anthony Towns in return would probably at least tempt them. The reason why this deal doesn't go through, though, is because the Wolves don't trade away Towns for a package centered around Simmons. Yes, the Timberwolves were one of the most prominent teams involved in the Ben Simmons sweepstakes this offseason, but they were doing that in order to pair Simmons with Towns, not to swap them. They do get solid value return-wise in this trade, but it's not enough for them to trade away the face of their franchise, and that is where this deal dies. And with that being said, that's all I have for you today. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment down below what you think about these hypothetical trades. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.